Tonight, a story of corruption, murder and forbidden love. Hugh Grant and Ben Whishaw star in a very English scandal at 9. But now on BBC One, just before Songs of Praise, you're getting hot under the collar about the weather.
A veritable storm has been brewing in Points of View's inbox since the BBC introduced new look weather graphics earlier this year. Well, today the corporation's head of weather responds to your feedback. That and much more coming up. Welcome to your Points of View. First up this week, though, a piano on fire, a dance routine involving doors, and a song about a Viking. It can only mean one thing. Yes, viewers across the land were tasked with making their minds up last Saturday night as the grand final of the 63rd Eurovision Song Contest got underway in Lisbon. Scooping the glass microphone in the end was Israel's Netta with her quirky dance number Toy. It was a shock result for some.
I was shocked when Israel won. I thought our song by Suri was much better.
We came a disappointing third from last, but Suri was still a winner in your eyes due to the way she dealt with an intruder who wanted to turn her solo act into a duet.
Well done, Suri. Absolutely brilliant, despite the idiot.
Suri was brilliant to carry on through that. She hardly batted an eyelid. She should get an award just for that.
There was praise for a member of the BBC's UK contingent too, with our host Graham Norton scoring, let's say, a good 10 points for his often cutting commentary.
How many points will the winner get?
Which country gets to host next year? And the most important one.
Where's the rest of your dress?
Where is the after party?
Graham Norton is the best Eurovision commentator around, only beaten by the late Sir Terry.
Just a quick email to say how good I thought Graham Norton's commentary was on Eurovision. My only moan is about the credits at the end of the show going so fast on screen. It's good to actually see who makes the show.
You need to be some speed reader to catch any of that. Not everyone was a fan of Saturday's show, though, with sacre bleu, some even suggesting it was time the UK left the Eurovision party.
Is it not time we pulled out of the Eurovision Song Contest? It's become obvious in recent years that whilst they want our licence payers' money, they don't want us. The UK produces the best music in the world, and whilst we don't always send it, we deserve to do much better. This year our performer was assaulted on stage and no one even saw fit to mention it.
Why do we enter this political contest? It's nothing to do with music anymore. We could have Coldplay represent us and still come nearer last than first.
Surely we'd be in with some sort of chance with them, John. The second biggest entertainment event of last weekend, a decidedly more British affair, took place on Sunday. BBC One brought us highlights of the British Academy Television Awards, hosted by Sue Perkins from London. The BBC did well on the night with its programme scooping 17 wins.
Thank you very much.
Including the award for Best Drama.
And the BAFTA goes to... Peaky Blinders!
You seemed to have no complaint with the Academy's choice of winners, just the ceremony itself. First there was the announcer.
Massive congratulations to this country. The show, not our country. We've had an absolute shocker over the past couple of years.
Usually a great watch, spoiled by a behind-the-scenes announcer I found both annoying and at times completely inappropriate.
I am flabbergasted by the awful choice of voiceover. I'm all for equality in the workplace, but this guy's hard to understand and has the most annoying tone of voice.
While the proceedings host also came in for criticism, many of you found Sue Perkins' frequent gags on the subject of gender equality tiresome, while some risque routines were deemed simply inappropriate.
Listen, you might be hosting this show, but you're not beyond a good tickling. Let's give her a good little tickle. Come on.
I'll put one of my jugs in your face.
Sue Perkins was a disaster as she spent the majority of her time trying to make jokes about gender equality, which I'm sure the audience found more tedious as the night went on. The part where she sat on her sidekick's knee and tried to be funny with innuendos was disgusting.
Sue Perkins was a disgrace. She didn't just die on stage, but by the end was decomposing badly.
Ouch. Sue perhaps not winning an award anytime soon for that performance then. One of Nordic Noir's biggest hits landed back on our screens last week, making the crossing from BBC 4 to BBC 2. The last ever series of the Scandi crime drama The Bridge opened with the brutal murder of the head of the Danish Immigration Board. With former partner Saga still in prison, it was up to Danish detective Henrik Sabro to take the lead on the investigation.
Og så vidt vi ved, så er du den sidste, der har set hende i liv. Ja, men som jeg allerede har forklaret jer begge to, så kan I bare tjekke mit alibi.
Fans of the dark drama have had to wait more than 15 months for The Bridge to reappear, but judging by feedback on episode 1, it's been well worth the wait.
Even when it involves people sitting around doing nothing, it's still riveting. The producers know how to build up the tension.
The two main characters are complex and it is interesting to see how they work together. The plot twists and turns, and keeping you on the edge of your seat. It has me hooked right from episode 1.
Episode 1 reached a dramatic finale. Don't worry, we're not going to give anything away here if you are still to catch up. Yet, any sense of suspense was ruined when BBC Two ran a trailer straight after the show that appeared to give away what happened next.
What's the point of ending on a cliffhanger only to immediately show clips from next week's episode allaying your fears? So hacked off with the BBC.
We asked the BBC why more care wasn't taken with either the content of the trailer or its scheduling. And here's what they had to say.
The intention was to give viewers a taste of what's to come across the rest of this series of The Bridge. We'd like to thank Points of View viewers for their feedback, and we'll take it into account for future trails.
Well, at least they thanked us, I guess. If you haven't made it across the bridge yet, you're in luck. All 3 previous series are available on the BBC iPlayer now. Next, 2018 has brought us The Beast from the East and the hottest ever early May bank holiday. But in early February, the big news in weather watching circles was the BBC's forecast.
Now looking at the weather picture for Saturday, we've got...
It was back then that after switching its forecast provider, the BBC introduced a new look for its television weather, trumpeting more realistic maps and higher quality moving graphics. Complaining about the weather is of course a national pastime, but more than 3 months after the new look was introduced, we continued to receive grumbles about the graphics. We went to hear why 3 viewers feel the redesigned forecasts are a failure.
My name is June Rogers and my complaint is, where's the sun gone? The new graphics, while they're fantastic new technology, don't make it clear where it's sunny as opposed to where it's cloudy. There's a lot of moving greyness and perhaps the producers have gone for realism over clarity. I'd like to say to BBC Weather, please make the new graphics clearer and less wishy-washy.
My name is Graham Hardacre and my complaint is, where is the Northwest? The new BBC Weather is not representing my area. There's nothing on the west coast of the mainland Britain between Birmingham and Glasgow. I'd like to say to the BBC weather people, would you please include northwest of England on your weather maps? I'm sure there could be room for Manchester or Liverpool.
My name is Adrian Dark. My complaint to the BBC is, where have the wind speeds gone? The BBC weather forecast is very important to me because I live in Peacehaven and it's one of the windiest spots on the south coast. The old style BBC format was very clear in the way the graphics were presented. They were large and readable and the wind speed was clearly visible, but with this new format there is no wind speed given any longer, and so therefore you have no idea what kind of a day it's going to be like. I would like the BBC to answer this question. Why have you left off our wind speeds? It's all part of the whole picture of living on this glorious island we call Great Britain.
Earlier this week, we put those points to the head of BBC Weather, Liz Howell. First, we asked her to address June's comments that the new look forecasts just aren't clear enough.
We've had lots of feedback about clarity, and for most viewers, they like what we've done. However, we are looking at all the weather elements to see if we can make them more clear for people as time goes on. One thing to take into account though is that these broadcasts are with a narrative, so you have a presenter telling you the story and pointing out the focus of weather. So actually everything needs to be looked at together in the round.
Next, we raised Graham's point about the map's absence of towns and cities in northwest England.
We have more place names than ever available to us now. Our plan in the future is to try and rotate names so that we get different names on the network map over time, but also on our local tours where we go round the country and we drift down to tell the weather story. He will see the northwest names on there.
And on the disappearance of wind speeds from national forecasts, here's what Liz had to say.
Wind speeds are there to be used by any presenter when wind is part of the story. However, you add them in now every time and they're going to add another layer of data to the picture for viewers to unpick and see. However, hot off the press, last week we were looking at how we might present wind speeds more regularly in a very clear way to our viewers on network TV. So you should see those in a couple of weeks' time.
A real result for Adrian there. I always thought not including wind speeds was a missed opportunity. Missed M-I-S-T, who wrote that? Finally, we asked Liz if the BBC planned to make further changes to the forecasts based on feedback received.
Our plan now is one of innovation and reflecting and looking at themes coming through from the audience, such as the wind speeds. And what we'll do over time is address those, and where we think we can make improvements that are better for the broader part of the audience, then we'll go about making those improvements. And that's our plan. We hope people will see a lot of development with BBC Weather and enjoy it for many, many years to come.
Thanks to Liz for taking the time to speak to us. Next, adventurer and broadcaster Simon Reeve set off on a two-part journey through a beautiful and yet troubled country last weekend. In Burma with Simon Reeve, the adventurer explores the roots of a crisis in which hundreds of thousands of Rohingya Muslims were driven from their homes in 2017.
Oh my God, look at this.
Last Sunday saw him also travel to neighbouring Bangladesh, where he heard of the Rohingyas' plight firsthand.
And do you feel safe here now?
Yes, yeah.
The documentary proved an eye-opening insight into events in Burma or Myanmar.
Amazing journalism. Thought things were bad, but hadn't realised they are horrific.
Absolutely brilliant documentary. Who better to present it than Simon? Well done to the BBC for the hard work put in and letting the country know the facts.
Well worth a watch. That's all for this week, but whether you see something you love or loathe on the BBC This Week, please get in touch with us here, your points of view. You can email us at pov@bbc.co.uk or through our website, where you can also find out how to send us a video. Find us at bbc.co.uk/POV. We are on social media too. You can tweet us while you watch. We're at BBC POV. Or to join in the conversation about the week's television shows, simply search for BBC Points of View on Facebook. We're back at the later time of 4:10 next Sunday here on BBC One. Hope you can join us then. Goodbye.